Alright folks, Roz, we are back. I found out from the opponent that he was holding removal in his hand, so if he was going to die, he was going to use it. But still major misclick or misplay. I have to look at it again. I knew I meant to swing with that tiger, so I feel like I clicked on it. I was probably just clicking way too fast. Yeah, we cannot keep this because we don't have any lands. Well, we have one land, but... Okay, this is pretty sketchy too. We have a bunch of cards in our hand that require black. And then we have just white, so this hand basically does nothing. The question is, are we on the draw? No, that's right, we won the die roll. So we'd be on the play with this kind of hand, and I'm not sure that we can do that. But I'm not sure I want to go down to 5 either, because I don't know if a random 5 will be better than this. So I think we're going to go ahead and stick with it. Basically, a black makes this hand amazing. And hopefully we are not up against the Orzhov mirror again, because that was just... I don't know what that was, but that was something. Ooh, we're up against Drool. That's something else I wouldn't really want to be up against. Okay, so we got the Prophetic Prism, which is actually just fine. That will get us our black source out, and it will allow us to refill our hand, which is not bad. So even though we went down, I don't feel horrible about the fact that we went down a card. May end up missing our land drops here in the future, but we do have things like Double Devour Flesh to slow down the Gruul deck if it gets out of hand. Glaring Spotlight. Okay. And a Death's Approach. Okay, so... looks like it's just going to go ahead and be a Guild Mage here because we are missing our land drop, and that's not so good. But at least we have a presence on the board now, and like I said, we do have several ways to deal with his opening creatures, including Devour Fleshing the first two, and then hopefully Death's Approaching whatever's left. All right. So drawing a land would be nice. I would highly enjoy that. But if we don't get it, at least we can play almost everything in our hand except for Kingpin's Pet and Corpse Blockade. All right, Gruul, show me what you got. Croconura, yep, that's getting devoured because that's amazing. It's a good card. It's a good card. Okay, so we draw the Swamp. That's not bad. So the question is Kingpin's Pet or Devour Flesh. And I kind of just think it's Devour Flesh. Well, this is hard because we're at a point where I would be waiting to see whether or not he got anything decent. Well, we're not going to go ahead and play the Kingpin's Pet anyway because we would just sit there and wait. So let's just go ahead and Devour Flesh this now. And then we'll head on over for 2. He'll be at 21, but... here go. So now we can play everything in our hand with just 3 lands, and that's not too bad, especially when we're kind of top-heavy. But that does mean that we have a high probability of drawing something with like a 4 or 5 or 6 casting cost, and that's not so good either. Yet, see, double Croconura, that's pretty bad. Because it stops our Kingpin's Pet dead in its tracks. Balustrid Spy is pretty sweet. But I guess we'll just go ahead and Devour Flesh again. It's a good life gain deck you've got there. Getting stuck on 3 mana, though, not where we want to be, especially when we have stuff like Balustrid Spy in the hand. I feel really good about getting rid of those Croconuras, though, considering the amount of flying stuff we're holding onto here. So if you play something with a 2 toughness, we'll be able to kill it with Death's Approach. That's not too bad, right? He is tapping a heck of a lot of mana. Clan Defiance? Oh, Nimbus Swimmer. That's pretty good. Call the Nightwing. Game failed. Awesome. Jeez Louise. I think we're probably just going to go ahead and take 3 and get our Kingpin's pet out. Just so we can start playing cards. And maybe we will draw some land in the near future here. Or we might be able to death approach something else. But probably this thing is going to get death approached. But it does look like we are up against 4-color Simic Gruul, or 3-color Simic Gruul here. And we do have our blue splash for this Call the Nightwing because of this Prophetic Prism. We just need to draw lands. We're just way behind on lands. I don't know what's going on here. 17 lands in the deck. Maybe I should go for 18. But there's not a ton of Extort. I think there's like 4 creatures at Extort. So it's not like we are the super heavy Extort deck here. And our opponent is kind of playing super slow here. And we'll go ahead and take that. He's got plenty of mana, so I imagine he has a decent follow-up play here. And he's tapping all of it, so probably Xertos Wine. Yep, there she is. That's pretty good. All right, so we're getting some stuff out now. I think the idea here is to. I think the idea here is just a Balustrade Spy. We could also Corpse Blockade and Death's Approach this. But I almost feel like better yet is just Balustrade Spying and then seeing if we can get Xertos Swine out of there with a Death's Approach. And unfortunately, we're not going to get our Extort triggers on. I'll do this before combat just because he's tapped out and I don't really care. So let's see if we can mill some decent stuff here. My mills are usually not as good as my last opponent's mills. Yep, see, just a land. Man, that's really too bad. I'm not even sure I want to swing in here. I almost kind of want to hang back. But I don't think I will because I don't know if he's got... I mean, obviously he has some Blood Rush, which is pretty bad. Getting a Dutiful Throwout would be kind of nice. But we'll also have things like Call the Nightwing. So I guess best case scenario is we draw a land, and then we can Death Approach this and Call the Nightwing, something like the Balustrade Spy. That would be pretty good. Oh, wow. It's not bad. So we're going to take 8 and go down to 9. Yep. Well, this is the idea. Hopefully Orzhov can stabilize here. That's going to make it kind of hard. All right. Let's see what we got. Another Death Approach. Okay, this is pretty good. This isn't really good, but this is pretty good. Because we can't do everything in our hand here. And I almost think our only play here is just to Call the Nightwing this Spy, because man, we're gonna take a boatload of damage, and we just don't have enough that we can do. This is tough. Let's see. We can rush in, give this thing lifelink, but then he's coming back for 10-13. Yeah, we can't do that. We have to actually kill stuff here. Let's see. death approach that. So now he has 1, 2, 3 creatures in the graveyard. And we can death approach the Zertos Swine so that we can actually block it. I really, really want to death approach the Nimbus Swimmer, but we started way too slow here. So basically we have to just make it so that we can actually block this thing with a Balustrade Spy. So we'll go ahead and here for R2. And this is a tough game. He managed to do what Gruul does, which is just get really, really big creatures on the board. That is really, really bad. That is super, super bad. And I don't think we have a way to get in this. Because if he evolves this thing twice, then he's just going to start taking anything that we have on the board, and if we play Call of the Nightwing, then he just takes our tokens. Ugh. Alright, well, I've got a block. And he might just Blood Rush us to death here, but I don't think there's a whole lot of ways coming back from this game. Okay, fuck it. Alright, so we're taking 10, going down to 1. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Don't think that there's a way to survive this. We can call the Nightwing our guy, I guess. No, we're not going to go ahead and extort because we can't get any mana. That's all we've got. We're at 1 health. A massive raid or just about anything else kills us. Oh. Where's my copy at? There it is. Okay, so we have some chump blockers, which isn't terrible, but we're still not really in this. And he could just play something, evolve, or yeah, he could also sack that. So, alright, looks like we're going on game 2. Okay, so Gruul, Simic, craziness. I think one of the things that's going to help us is if we draw out better. That will probably be pretty good. Debtor's Pulpit might actually be really important here, and I might take it out for a Devour Flesh as we do. And I think that's what we're going to run with. Yeah, we'll go ahead and play first. Yeah, this hand looks pretty darn good. Because we can actually play spells and things. And as the Mtgnoob himself will tell you, playing spells is how you win at Magic. We're going to go ahead and wait for him to mulligan, and we'll be back. Okay, opponent going down to 5, so maybe we can win when he goes down to 5. Or maybe he'll just get an amazing hand with an Experiment 1. That's pretty good too. We might just Devour Flesh that thing right away. But I think we'll go ahead and play out Screecher first so we can actually do some extorting and devouring, and that might be okay. It may have just been a better idea just to devour that thing right away, because he may just play something that's not as good and then sack that. And so, or he might have 2 Experiment 1s. You could always just have 2 Experiment 1s. That's pretty good as well. Drawing a black mana there is pretty good. I guess we can Devour Flesh and Death Approach those things. And I think that's what we're going to have to do. And we're going to have to cancel our Extort, so we're not going to get to use it. Man, this guy's deck is just traumatic. And I'm not getting any of my Extort triggers off, which is really unfortunate. I had a couple technical difficulties there. I don't know if very much happened since that like weird pause happened. Basically, I just played a Kingpin's Pet and swung in for 1. So that was it. And I think I drew like a Guild Gate. So nothing too amazing. And it looks like he's stuck on 2 mana. Yep, you can get him for 2. I am not blocking. Playing out our hand pretty quickly, though, that's for sure. I guess we can go ahead and just put like a Corpse Block. No, we can play the Dutiful Thrall and Extort twice, so I think that's what we're going to do. Go ahead and do that now. And we'll hold up yonder. Well, actually, no. We'll go ahead and do this, just because this way we can actually regenerate it like a good player would. I hate it when you extort with different mana colors, because then you have to like click on the thingy each time. It's weird. But now we can block his green side Watcher without a problem and regenerate if we need to. So it's just really going to depend on whether or not he can actually draw some mana and get back into the game here. We're doing okay. We don't have like a whole lot of firepower in our hand. We've got like a Corpse Blockade, I guess. I don't really know if that's going to get us anywhere. I mean, it stops most of the ground stuff. It'll stop like Croconuras and things like that, but I think just not drawing land is really what's winning it here. Yeah, another Kingpin's Pet is pretty good. And I think we'll just go ahead and do that right off the bat here. And get our extort triggers on. We won't be able to regenerate the Thrall, but I'm not really worried about 2 damage right now. Especially when we're going to be at, what, 23? Yeah. But I'm definitely not going to throw the Thrall away, because this guy is the key to stopping things like those Zertos Swines and that enormous slime. So if we draw a land, we can actually play this Corpse Blockade and extort 3 times. And that's almost game. Yeah, he's just drawing nothing, so we'll go ahead and play it. Pre-combat, I mean, I'm not really sure what he could do, but might as well just play it now. So yeah, we drew out pretty good, and he drew out really poorly. So that's really unfortunate, partner. I'm sorry to kind of see that. So we can swing in for 5, and we're pretty much almost there. We're basically 1 extort trigger away. I mean, it's been however many draw steps, and he hasn't gotten a land, so I imagine he'll probably just concede here. Alright, yeah, definitely not as exciting as the first game. Or first round, I should say. Man, we had a slump there. We were going to pull like 6 lands, 5 lands. But we had some pretty neat gas after that. So yeah, this is pretty good. I like the Thrall especially in this because it stops things like Greenside Watchers, and obviously, like I said, it's really good against his just really big guys. Like, I can consider actually bringing something like a Riot Gear in, but I'm not sure what I would take out for it. I kind of like where we are right now. I think this deck is fine. This hand is not fantastic, but it's not terrible. We're going to have all of our colors, and we have something that we can play. And we do have our Debtor's Pulpit, which is going to be really important for when he gets up to, like, Xertos Wines and stuff. Experiment 1. Yep. Well, we'll just go ahead and play this, just because if we do pull like a Guild Mage or something like that, we don't want to put down white or blue. That's for sure. Another Experiment 1. Yeah, that's pretty good. Alright, so all we have right now is just this Prophetic Prism, which I guess is fine. Get us back up to 7 cards. Okay, that's pretty important, and we're probably going to definitely need that. Because I think that might be the only thing that we're going to get to do on turn 3. And if he's got like a Greenside Watcher, I guess he doesn't, because he's not playing it pre-combat. But I was going to say, if you had like a Greenside Watcher or something like that, that would be really, really bad. So pulling a Death's Approach here would be kind of funny. Alright, well, Griffin's fine too. But yeah, I think we pretty much have to Devour here. Just start filling up his graveyard. We'll play probably a Spy. And then we'll have stuff like the Pulpit online soon after that. We'll play probably Spy, Griffin, then have the Pulpit online. And still nothing pre-combat for the evolution. That's kind of weird. Lord knows he had plenty of Croconuras and such. Okay, so we can probably play almost anything we want here because we do have the Prism out. So all of our double costs, it's not a big deal. So here I think we're just going to go ahead and play Spy. And we'll do a little mill action. And see if we can get some substance out of his deck instead of just getting like a land or something. That's some substance. Holy cow. Gorklan Rampager, Miming Slime. Yeah, that's pretty good. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're definitely online right now with our Death's Approach, should we pull them. And we might be able to just beat him to death in the air. If he plays anything just too crazy, we still have this Angelic Edict, which is fine. And if he does have something to pump this thing, I imagine he'll play it pre-combat. Or he could have a Ground Assault. That's good too. So probably Assault Griffin. I don't think that there's anything else we would really see besides that. As we move here into the late game, though, we might be able to step it up a notch and really do some work. We'll hold up Smite. And that's it. Again, we still have our answers in our hand, which is fine. If he swings in here, I'm not really sure I would block without evolving, I should say. Okay, so he's got Mugging too. Hanging us for 1. So no land. More land. Alright, no. Debtor's Pulpit. It really doesn't matter where we put this thing, so I guess we'll just go ahead and put it on a white mana. guess now we can tap down his Experiment 1. Yay! So we don't have to get pinged to death. What do we got? A Nimbus Swimmer coming in here? Rubble Belt Raiders. Yeah, it's pretty good. I guess I'll just go ahead and do this now. Luckily we do have the Angelic Edict for it, but we don't have any pressure on the board. Well, now we also have a Grizzly Spectacle. I think we'll just go ahead and play this first, so that we keep our instant speed removal for later in the game. I think that's fine. So, could use pretty much anything. I think hopefully he's used up most of his removal. Yeah, okay, just making sure we have a stop at the beginning of combat so that we can tap this guy down. Yep, there's an Incursion Specialist, so that thing's now a 3/3. More planes, you say? Sure. Glaring Spotlight. So he's got 0 cards in hand, so that's not terrible. But again, we need to draw some gas here to stabilize, which would be really nice. Even a stupid Call the Nightwing, I would put it on itself. Death's Approach. Alright, let's see. 1, 2, 3. Not even sure I want to use this thing right now. I almost want to keep it for if we get some Extort out. Because we'll be taking 1 off of this guy for right now. Yeah, it's fine. We'll hold on to the Death Approach. He may evolve this thing to the point where we can't Death Approach it. But I don't know, at that point it's almost like we could just Grizzly Spectacle it instead. So yep, take our 1. No land. Alright, Sorichi Tiger. Now we're getting somewhere. Still can't really get in anywhere, but we do have our Grizzly Spectacle up so we can actually block things. Bomber Core. Sure. So yeah, we might end up actually having a Death Approach that Experiment 1. Oh, yes, Summoning Sickness. Basilica Guards. Now that's more like what we were waiting for. And regen is not going to save that, luckily. Which is unfortunately why Grizzly Spectacle was just not as good there. Ember Beast, sure. I'm not even going to tap anything down. I'm going to let him come in. because there's the potential that we could 2-for-1 him with this Grizzly Spectacle if he does. Yeah, I didn't think so. Call the Nightwing. That's more like it. One, two, three, four, five. All right. Call of the Nightwing on a Call of the Nightwing. Not exactly what I want to be doing, but I guess it's fine. We can tap down his Bomber Core, which works. Or we might just tap down his Ember Beast. Kind of depends on what he plays here. Okay. So tap down the Ember Beast, which is fine. So he can only attack with 2 and not get his battalion online. Corpse Blockade, also good. I think we pretty much just have to Grizzly Spectacle this and start getting in. This is going to be a slow burn. And no Corpse Blockade this turn because I would much rather hold up the Pulpit, which is fine. Well, actually, I should say we need to hold up the Pulpit because we need to stop this Bomber Core from getting online. And if he has some haste, if he has like a one of that stupid Goblin, that would be pretty bad. But more swamps, huh? Sure. Go Call of the Nightwing, cast. Pay little mana. The Extort Train is online. And we can even play our Corpse Blockade. And we have all the mana in the planet. Problem becomes if he plays another creature, because then I can only tap 1 a turn. So he can Bomber Core and shoot this thing, and that's not so good. So more removal would be nice. Yep, that's pretty good. Tappy tappy. That said, even if he does get rid of the Call of the Nightwing, it's certainly done some work. So I don't feel too bad about losing it. Dutiful Thrall also quite good. That said, we are going to lose our Call of the Nightwing, and there's nothing that we can really do about it. But we may be able to force him into some pretty unfavorable blocks, which is nice. Yep, should have swung with those two. Well, it depends. I might be able to utilize them to do some extra weird blocks as well. Yep, we'll go ahead and get our extort on. Down to 9. So he needs to swing in with 3 things, and I think that if he does, I can almost kill everything he has on the board. He's tapping something big here. Probably a giant Nimbus Swimmer, I would guess. Well, actually, I'm wrong, because I can just tap down this Bomber Core forever, I guess. So that's not too bad. Okay, giant Nimbus Swimmer. Still doesn't have any super attacks here. I can throw 2 walls in front of anything and just kill it. In we go. Cast, extort. This guy's really, really lucky that we haven't gotten more extort out on the board, because he would probably be way, way dead by now. And I don't think that there's any real reason to play out this land here. So he needs to do something or he's just dead. Homing Lightning would be pretty bad. Sure, Warmind Infantry? That's fine. Even if he glaring spotlights, he can't kill us. So I think he might just be dead. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's just dead. Zero cards in hand, 1 way to block flyers. Yeah, that's pretty much the end. Alright, partner, good game. It was a pretty good deck. Kind of like the slow gruel beatings. And drew 4 of the next 5 mana, yep. Alright, well, we'll go ahead and finish this off, and then we'll head on to the losers finals in game 3, or round 3, and see what we can do there. Only have 15 land in the... Really? Well, I guess it makes sense, kind of. Everything's 4 and under, except for, like, a big Nimbus Swimmer. I mean, I don't even need to tap this thing down because he's dead anyway, so... Here we go. And he had 0 cards in hand, so... Alright guys, well, there goes round 2, and I will see you guys for round 3.